Taylor Time Live. I'm your host, Seth Gladden, and today we start Season 4, which is unbelievable. Season 4 of Taylor Time Live. If you have not tuned in before, I encourage you to go. You can go to our website or our YouTube channel. If you do go to our website, just check out the top left, hit the YouTube button, go there, and you can see our playlist where we have all of our previous Taylor Time Lives. We have some great content there, so I encourage you to check it out. But today is exciting. It's a special edition, and I'm joined by Paul Murfin, our president, in studio today. Paul, thanks for being here.
Seth, my pleasure. Thank you. You finally got me here.
We're in Season 4, and I finally got you here, so it's great to have you. So we've had quite a history here with Taylor Time so far, and if you wouldn't mind, Paul, just tell us from your perspective why Taylor Time was started, and why we're still here today.
Gosh, from my perspective, well, I think as I reflect on it, really back in 2020 when the pandemic hit us, we started to say to ourselves, how are we going to speak to our customers? And we, at that time, said, why don't we turn our tech center into a studio? And we started to do training events from the studio. Very shaky, very clumsy.
Bad internet.
Yes.
Me with an iPhone. So.
Yes. But obviously that sort of started something which eventually developed into Taylor Time, and really quite amazing. Almost 3 years of content, and I think we've got better and more professional and relevant as the time has gone on. So that's how it all began. Yeah.
We didn't know, when we started Taylor Time, the full platform, but specifically live, we didn't know how really it was going to work. We talked about how we didn't want to talk about Taylor specifically, that we wanted to be a resource for the industry with live. But how have you seen specifically live, these events? How have you seen those as they've played out over the last 3+ years? And as we look forward, what do you see the value of live as to help us continue pushing that forward?
Well, back again to the pandemic, all of us were forced to stay at home. We didn't know what was taking place. And certainly back then, people perhaps had a little bit more time on their hands. So we thought maybe there's some content that we can throw out here that people will take a look at. We continue to ask the question moving forward, is there still value in delivering Taylor Time? Should we keep it going? Is this something that the industry really wants or needs? And each time we look at those questions or ask those questions, we've come to the realization that there is indeed a value to continuing this. So it's been a wonderful journey. I think it's forced us to really reflect on who we are as a company, how we can add value to the industry, how we can add value to our customers. And I think the content has evolved as we've asked those questions along the way.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we'll continue to see that this year as we push through the content this year. I think we have a good year planned. I'm
excited about this year.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah. Well, good. I think as we move into 2023, we've had a crazy few years actually, but as we move into 2023, we've got kind of an interesting makings of an interesting business climate. And so what do you see, how do you see 2023 playing out?
Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about that interesting few years. 2020, of course, we were hit by the pandemic and all of the uncertainty that brought about.
Right.
That was followed by a remarkable uptick in activity, so we had to think about that. That in turn was followed by supply chain challenges, and how do we keep pace with that incredible demand, compounded by the ice storm and all the raw material delays that we had. And here we are now entering 2023 with an economy that is, let's just say, uncertain to say the least. So going into 2023, how do I see things? I spend half of my day is speaking to customers that we do business with, flooring manufacturers, leaders in the industry, trying to get a handle on how they see the industry. And I think the general consensus is that it's going to be a very uncertain 2023. Clearly, residential challenges, especially in the model replacement and new housing markets, and hopefully a couple of bright spots in the commercial market and also multifamilies. Very challenging year coming that I think we're up against. And that, of course, is one of the reasons why we chose the current title and theme for this year's 2023 Taylor Time Live.
Yeah, so you gave a good recap of the last couple of years and the challenges that we faced, but let's hear a little bit about Paul Murfin, a little bit about your history, because you've spent time in distribution, you've spent time in flooring, and now, of course, you're in accessories. We're very grateful for that. But tell us just a little bit about your journey getting here, and then we'll look at why we chose this as our theme and what we plan to talk about this year.
Okay. Well, excuse me. I moved from the UK in 1987, the 1st of March 1987. So I've been here something like 36 years coming up this year, which is hard to believe. Spent the first 10 plus years of that time in distribution. So really got a good grounding on floor covering distribution. From there, had the opportunity to move to the manufacturer side, and I enjoyed various leadership positions on the manufacturer side of the industry. And then had the opportunity to join Taylor at the end of 2019. So hard to believe we're just entering my 4th year with the business. And, I'm the product of having lots of various experiences along the way, residential, commercial, distribution, manufacturing, and now accessories. And I think some of that history, shall I say, has started to influence what we want to do this year in Taylor Time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gives you a unique perspective because you've kind of played on all the different, aside from installation, I guess.
That's something I will not be taking away.
yeah, can't blame you there. But, aside from that, you've kind of lived and walked a mile, so to speak, in all of those different shoes. So as we were discussing content for this year, I think that brought a lot of clarity to what we need to hit as we're headed into this, what was the word you called it? Not unique, but this business climate, right, of 2023, challenging, I guess. So, how do you think that impacted your perception of what we're going to talk about this year, and then we'll get into a little bit about what we are going to talk about this year.
So, I mentioned that I spend a good portion of my time trying to understand from other leaders in the industry how they see the market, the types of challenges that they're up against. And we have started to get repeated requests for information that we can pass on to our customers. So, I would say going into 2023, people are going to have to be very creative in a difficult market, how they're going to sell more, how they're going to increase their business, how they're going to sell more product. And clearly one of those opportunities is to do a better job of selling accessories. Of course, we're a major and very important accessory in the on the installation side of the equation. So we keep hearing from salespeople, from floor covering manufacturers, from distributors, flooring contractors, that they don't understand the adhesive category as well as they would like. And I think adhesive manufacturers as a whole, we tend to speak too technically to our customers and to our industry partners about the products we sell. So think of adhesive for dummies or adhesive 101.
Right.
We are going to sort of dial this down, and we're going to try and find ways to help a typical salesperson in the industry understand the category and over time do a more effective job of not only understanding it, but being able to sell it to his or her customers.
Yeah. Great way to put that, because I do think that is a need that continues, like you said, continues to be diagnosed as we have these discussions and these conversations. And that's something you felt, I think, as well in your other roles.
Well, yeah, as I said, coming from a flooring background and not being an expert in adhesive myself, you sort of enter this world and you listen to all the jargon or terminologies that are thrown around in the adhesive world. And unless you are a sort of expert chemist or installer, even if you are an expert installer, you don't necessarily understand all the terms.
Right.
So I keep challenging our own team on how do we find ways to sort of simplify the category, find ways to make the category more understandable so that more people can really get their arms around it and do a more effective job of selling more to the marketplace.
Right. So we did name it Setting Strong Goals, for today's episode. But as we look towards the remainder, the balance of this year, and what we're going to be talking about is as far as how to understand and then sell more, hopefully more adhesive, but also potentially just more accessories in general. And if you will be at Surfaces or go on our website, you'll see how we feel that we're a vital accessory this year as we talk about that. That's one of our campaigns. But so I guess, can you talk a little bit about your perspective of having, like, setting those strong goals and having those strong goals when it comes to selling adhesive products, whether it be an OEM, a distributor, a retailer? What are your thoughts on that?
First and foremost, we're in the adhesive business. So
Well,
it's
fair
critical
enough.
to us that we
Fair
have strong goals for the sales of adhesive. Secondly, I think you would be aware that we have pushed the envelope at this company to sort of outperform the marketplace for the last 3 years, and for the most part we've done that and accomplished it thanks to the wonderful efforts of the Taylor team. Now, having said this, I think we are looking at a very challenging 2023, as I mentioned earlier, and I think people need to be creative about how are they going to find ways to grow their income and grow their sales. And I happen to think that selling accessories, and in particular selling more adhesive, is going to be one of the ways a traditional flooring salesperson can help improve their top line and obviously their income in the process.
Yeah. I think this will be really exciting content as we move through the balance of this year. As we talked about earlier, we've had some amazing content, and every year has kind of had a theme. So I'm excited this year is sales as our theme, and I think it's going to be what we need. As we look back over time, though, we've talked about last year we spent on the biggest challenges facing flooring installation, right? The year before that was actually kind of in the midst of COVID, and we spent time talking through each individual segment or section, you could call it, of construction, whether it be residential, multifamily, and then every type of commercial, whether retail, hospitality, healthcare, education, government. So we've talked about a lot of incredible things, but really, in my opinion, what has made our content valuable and what has made it what they call in the industry evergreen, right? Like, it's always useful, is the fact that we've had incredible guest experts that have come on.
Absolutely.
And so, I just want to take a moment and just thank, all of our guest experts that have joined us throughout the last 3+ years at this point. It's been an incredible journey. So,
Yep. Well, Seth, first of all, a lot of that comes down to your leadership and the work that you've done around Taylor time. But as we've reflected, so congratulations and thank you very much for your efforts here. But you're correct, as we each year challenged ourselves and said, what should the content be and how do we make this interesting for the viewership? We realized that we're not necessarily the experts ourselves in all of these areas.
Right.
So why not bring in the category expert, the industry expert, you name it, in that particular area. And we've done a really amazing job of attracting these folks to come and help us. And like yourself, I would say we're extremely grateful to all of the guests that we've had that have helped make the platform what it is today.
Yeah. And the great news is, like I mentioned at the very beginning, if someone has not seen any before or has missed it, these are all recorded. And I know you talk about when you have meetings with clients or things like that, some of the feedback that you get, because we don't necessarily, most of our views actually, of even those Taylor Time Live, come after, because everyone's schedules are crazy and busy, but we get a lot of people that tune in and watch. Talk to us a little bit about what you've heard, I guess, as far as feedback from the field.
So, in our travels, as we speak to customers, we have an advisory council, we get input from them. More and more we learn that people are really very happy with the content that we've got that's derived from Taylor Time. And they actually go to our website and use it as sort of a teaching mechanism for their employees. And so you've heard me question, why are we still doing this if we only had so many viewers on a particular day? But then we go back after the fact and we see that many people have chosen to watch it at a later date. I think this year's topics are going to be right on the money here, and they're going to create an incredible library for people in the industry that want to improve themselves and sell more product in 2023. So that at least is the goal that we're setting for ourselves.
That's right.
Very strong goal.
That's right.
That we're going to make this such a compelling course that multiple salespeople and industry participants will want to watch and learn about how they can do a better job in the market.
Yeah, so I know you already kind of said it, but I guess, my last question to you would be, what would you say to a distributor, whether it be a sales rep, OEM, what would you say to someone as to why they should, A, watch it live, join us live on Taylor Time Live, or come back and watch it as quickly as they can after the fact?
So, maybe there I'll reference Gary Scheidker that works for us as Director of Tech Services for the company. And Gary's been with the company for many years, has been a very important part, an integral part of Taylor Time Live as well. And Gary has always told me that he used to tell people that if they want to grow their income by at least 10%, that they should do a better job of selling adhesives. So I don't know any of us that wouldn't like a 10% pay increase.
I mean, I'll take one.
Exactly. And in order to do that, this is going to be a course that will help folks do a better job of selling this category in the marketplace, understanding the category, and hopefully in time increasing their income. So in a difficult year, what better goal to put out there?
So I guess the reason to watch live is, unless you want your competition to watch live, then you better join in live yourself so that you're not
If you don't
behind.
watch it, look out.
That's right. Someone
else is watching.
That's right. Well, Paul, it's been great to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming into studio. We do hope to see more of you, as we move forward. So.
Well, I prefer to be on that side of the camera normally. Not
well, me
this
too.
one. There we go.
But no, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Good to see you, Seth.
Yep. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. I do want to encourage you, if you haven't before, go check out our newsletters. You can subscribe to those right on our website. We have a great app 2.0 that we just launched. You can download that in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. I encourage you to get that. It gives you offline access. So if you're on a job site, don't have cell signal, you can actually use that app to pull up tech data sheets, safety data sheets, anything you need, sales information. So that's a great tool. Also encourage you, please go follow us, like us, see what we're up to on social media. We're on every major platform. And just continue to remember as we move through 2023 that Taylor Adhesives is with you every step.